I love that scene.
First one is just identity awareness.
I think they do such a good job of just like the eyes, the body contact, like they're saying so much without saying anything.
We certainly didn't expect a gay hockey romance to feel like a documentary of our lives, but here we are. Heated Rivalry shows two men navigating desire, intimacy, fear, and shame. And for a lot of us who grew up in the locker rooms like me and my co-host today, Seamus, that tension isn't fiction. Hi, and welcome back to the Good Life Lab with Dr. Dave. I'm Dr. Dave. This is where we experiment and explore clues, tools, and tales about navigating identity, direction, and community. My ultimate goal really is to enhance your life in some way by introducing you to some positive psychology research, tools, tips, and techniques that you can apply to your own life. And I'm in the midst of this series I'm calling From Heated Rivalry to Real Loving Relationships. In this episode, part 1 of 2, Seamus, my colleague, and I talk about the real stages of coming out that we experienced as college athletes. In light of Heated Rivalry, we'll be watching some scenes from the series together and then reacting to it and just kind of asking each other questions about our experiences coming out, what it cost us, what we misunderstood about the process of coming out, and how it unfolded for us over years, for decades for me, and maybe not as long for Seamus. But before we get back to our discussion with Seamus, a few quick notes I want to mention to you. So one thing is I'm writing or revising actually my series of books that I've written over the last couple decades about my journey as a queer man, coming out of the closet, trying to find a partner, the things I did to try to be happy and successful. And so I have this book series. I'm revising that in light of some of the Heated Rivalry romance series. I'm releasing that a chapter at a time on Substack, and I'd love to get your feedback if you're interested in that kind of thing. So look for that below. And one more thing before we get back to Seamus and our discussion. So there's been a great response to the series I've done on Heated Rivalry, and I'd like to kind of capitalize on that and expand that. I love riddles and puzzles and stories. So beginning March 1st through March 31st, I'm launching a month-long challenge that weaves together heated rivalry themes, positive psychology research, and my science-backed compass framework for helping people navigate identity, direction in life, and community relationships. There will be prizes. I'm still figuring that out, how to do that on YouTube. But I'm thinking prizes might be a taste of Cincinnati, where I'm from, maybe an Amazon gift card, and maybe even an access to my signature Compass coaching program. So those are a few ideas I'm working with. So think heated rivalry, gay romance themes meets positive psychology research, which is research to just basically help you improve your life, meets the National Treasure movies. I'm calling it the Compass Quest for now, and I want to help us move from rivalry to revelation to real loving relationships in our lives. And I'm hoping this kind of adventure will do that in a fun, engaging, unique way. So if you will, stay tuned to the end of this episode where I will share more information about this quest and give you the first clue. Even though it starts March 1st, I want to give you a clue now to get you started on this Compass Quest. So stay tuned and I'll share those clues with you at the end of this episode. All right, let's get back to our discussion with Seamus. All right, welcome back, Seamus. We're taking a little bit of a detour this week, to talk about the Heated Rivalry series. I know we both watched it recently. I've watched it a few times. I don't have you just been through once for yourself?
Yes, I've watched it once and I loved it.
So I'm going to take us through different scenes from the series, and I've asked you to come because you were a college athlete. I played soccer, you played lacrosse. And so trying to identify with the series, I think there's a lot in it that we both identify with. But then trying to talk through what might be stages of coming out and showing a clip from the series and then responding to that with some questions and our reactions. And the goal here is just to kind of, I guess, see how we identify with the series, but also to put it out there so other people can see what it's like for college athletes at least, and athletes who may have come from the same perspective or same worldview or same experience as Ilya and Shane and Scott and Kip in the series. So yeah, that's the goal. And there, even when I don't know if you've looked at stages of coming out. I don't think we've talked about that before. Like there are different approaches to even looking at people coming out. There could be the stages of coming out, which I think is an older model, or milestones around coming out, because it's not an easy step process. Sometimes I think of the grief process that it used to be, oh, you go through this, go through shock and then anger and then whatever, but it's not that clean. You go through a lot at once. And so that's the idea with these stages or milestones, I'm calling them. And but they're different models for how to look at coming out. Mm-hmm. But I'm calling them milestones and milestone dynamics, like things that you experience at these different parts of coming out.
Cool.
So let me try to do this. Anything you want to say before we get into the slides?
Yeah, the thing that I'll say is that the coming out process, like you mentioned it, I feel like it goes up and down, at least from my experience. Like there's periods where I feel really like excited and happy about who I am as like a gay man. And then there's periods where I like retract and like have some shame and maybe self-denial. And it kind of goes in this wave. It's not this clear like upward trajectory. So I totally resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah. And even now, it's in my 60s and being out of the closet fully last 5-6 years, I still go through, there's still coming out. I still come out in conversations. I'm taking this online course and people from all over the world. And I feel like every week I catch myself as like, is it safe to talk about this? So I'm still going through that even, at 60. So,
yeah, like I think the idea of coming out it's like almost an everyday experience. Like there's always moments and opportunities to be more of ourselves, and it's not just one decision. While coming out publicly is a huge step in it, I think every day after that there's like an act of bravery and choice, which is challenging and exciting and a cool process.
Yeah. And because your everyday life, I think people at work, I'm sure you're out to everybody there, but you still encounter people in your day-to-day life that they may not know,
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to try to share the screen and show the first clip here.
What a fucking day, huh?
Yeah, totally.
Is everything you dreamed of?
Almost.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Montreal is nice, yes?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Boston is nice too.
I think so. People like it there.
We will be seeing each other a lot.
Yeah, Boston and Montreal play against each other often.
All right, let me play this other scene too here. It relates to this identity awareness.
I love that scene.
All right, I'll stop sharing that. So it kind of gets into the second part of this that so the second scene gets into the next milestone we'll talk about. But first, just the first one is just identity awareness and
Yeah.
the question around, well, what do you think? I mean, when you see that scene, that first scene when they're in the gym together and what precedes it and what happens
I
afterward.
mean, I think they do such a good job of like just like the eyes, the body contact, like they're saying so much without saying anything. And I love Ilya like giving him the water bottle, like, "Do you want this?" And Shane takes it, and
That chain, they
like
touch fingers. Yeah,
yeah, they touch the fingers, and like it's just like there's like I feel like there's like the desire there, and Shane's kind of just like unsure of it, and Ilya is like confident in his desire, and he's like, "Here you go, like you want it, come and get it,"
yeah.
which I think was hot and cute and all the things.
Which it's good to see that both sides, like Ilya being bi, we don't know at this point, but he doesn't seem to have any shame around that
Mm-mm.
throughout, from early on. It's more around his, maybe not shame, but his holding back his feelings for Shane. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, he has no problems with his feelings and very confident about it.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's like the a cool part of like the show that Ilya is always confident in it. And he's like in a way like helping Shane like
Hmm.
come into himself in a way. And he probably doesn't realize he's doing that. I think his mind is like more on like the sex and just having fun, but in a way he's like helping Shane I don't know, lean into his desire.
Yeah, feel more comfortable with himself.
Hmm.
So the question I had around here is when do you remember it's your first attraction to another guy?
Yeah, it was I was thinking about this, and it was like sophomore year of high school. I was like um, with a friend, and it was like we were smoking weed together, and it was like it was dark, and we were like sitting there, kind of like almost similarly like to that scene, like sitting in front of each other, and I was just like, oh, I'm feeling things that I didn't think I would be feeling right now. And that was like I think my first experience of it, and I was definitely nervous to like I didn't act on anything. I don't think like there wasn't that invitation to like act on the desire, like handing a water bottle, but maybe it was there and I was just too afraid to like act on it. But yeah, that was my first experience.
Um, yeah, I just did this. So this will be the fourth episode in this series,
Hmm.
and I'm just finishing editing the third episode, which I'm calling this like a sexual history. I'm calling it a romantic energy history of when I first the kind of times throughout my life where I was drawn to somebody, and the earliest I can remember for this was around 8 or 9, and and so that's kind of, it's kind of an earlier thing for me,
Hmm.
and it was around like noticing older men at the time, like probably in their older teens, I should say, and
Hmm.
just that what that was like for me, and feeling I think ashamed about it, but also intrigued and curious. So mine happened a lot earlier than what yours did.
Yeah. And like I am curious, like I haven't been able to like fully tap into like the like 6 to like 12 year range of like that remembering. I've had like memories and experiences like come back to me more recently, but I think there's like some block in my mind where I can't or I haven't yet remembered that period of like especially around like sexual identity and things like that. Like I remember something coming up like me and me and my friends would like wrestle after school like in, like I don't know like maybe like first to third grade or something, and like I was definitely the one like orchestrating that, and I'm like curious of like what was behind that. But yeah, I am. Yeah, that's yeah.
Well, it reminds me of actually even before. I don't know if I was like earlier in grade school, even where there were three or four neighborhood boys that were around the same age, and we remember like actually playing. One of the other guys initiated initially. He was a little younger than me, but he kind of had, maybe I don't know how he got introduced to it, but he initiated something with me at like 7, 8, 9, and it was mostly just kind of like kissing and stuff at that age. Is kind of which is kind of strange,
Yeah.
but it seemed kind of strange at that age. But yeah, I remember that, so I forgot about that in the neighborhood. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So the second part of that second scene, you kind of see Shane telling Ilya to fuck off, like, and I don't know if it seemed pretty obvious. Like I've never been in a shower with another guy like that, where I'm definitely like obviously looking at him, even within the sports world, is like that you avoid that, as much as possible. So I don't know what they're in that situation with Shane, obviously looking at Ilya, and they're both kind of playing with each other like that, and then he turns away like as if he didn't want Ilya to see him or something, or I don't know. How do you interpret that?
I think what I interpret that as is like Shane realizes that Ilya knows that he's gay, and like Ilya's like looking at him and like looking back, and like Shane's just like, I know what you're doing, like fuck off. Like I don't know. That's kind of how I was interpreting it.
Maybe Shane was too. He was getting caught up in the moment, didn't realize what was going on. I guess that's possible. And in the book, it's clear that Shane is aroused, and that's what Ilya's kind of looking at, and so that Shane turns away from that. So I think, but it relates to the second kind of milestone where there's maybe a little bit of identity confusion.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you had this experience, but maybe culture's changing enough where when a young boy or man notices his attraction for another man, and instead of going automatically to confusion or shame, it's just like, oh, this is just how I feel. That would be great. I don't know if that happens much, but it's usually it turns into shame or an internal confusion of some kind.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely didn't have clarity. I had more of the confusion, and I at that point I like don't think I really had shame yet because I didn't even fully accept
Mm.
like my sexuality. So I think it was more just like a denial, and then like that denial maybe shielded me from the shame, but that doesn't mean that I don't have shame or have had shame. Like I've definitely experienced shame in the past, and maybe even currently, but I think for me and during like those like high school and college years, more high school years, there's more just confusion about like, oh, why am I thinking about this guy or things like that.
Mm. Okay, so we'll show this other scene um, that shows that as well.
So, look, we can forget that happened in there, okay?
Is what you want?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you're a really bad liar. What is your room number?
$14.10.
Yeah, that it seems like there's almost very little confusion for Shane. He's like right away, he's like, yeah, 1410. But yeah, again, like Ilya just being so confident and so like knowing what he wants, I think is like just hot and great for Shane and the show. Um, yeah, it's a great scene.
Yeah. So that's the second milestone dynamic is confusion. So I showed that clip because you see clearly Shane's when he comes out of the shower is like, just let's just forget about it. So that's the confusion part. But then it's
Yeah.
confusing because he's like, yeah, you come to my room, it's 1410, like back and forth at first. And you see that, you think it's depicted in subtle ways throughout the several years that they're kind of hooking up.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think yeah, like the confusion I think can be tied in with like the denial. Like Shane's like, no, I don't want to do this. Um, but he seems to come around to it pretty quickly, which
Yeah, yeah, it does. So, question to go along with the confusion part or leading into the next one, which is the next milestone dynamic is identity tolerance.
mm,
You're not, you're maybe not identifying as gay yet, but
mhm.
you're being more tolerant of these attractions. And so, for you, when did you begin to get used to the idea? Maybe not identify as gay, but you're like, it's a step towards being more comfortable with it.
Yeah, it definitely was happened in therapy probably like 2022. Like I think the first time I like said like I might be gay was to my therapist. And then like coming out with my I came out to my sister like I don't know a month later, and I like couldn't say the words I'm gay to her, which was like again this um like labeling is so important, I think, and it can also just be really scary because there's like a lot of like finality in that and commitment to our identity. And then like I remember coming out to my parents and I said like, "Oh, I'm gay or bi," which like I like again like I was happy I was able to say like even those words. And I think still now, I think there's for me, it's like really hard to commit to just like labeling myself as gay. Like I still leave some like room for like ambiguity. But I think it's important for me to like identify myself as gay, and it's still like a work in progress.
It's such an individual thing. I think early on, I think I struggled with, like we've talked it for decades. And then when I finally decided to come out, just saying that I'm gay, because it means more than just I'm attracted to men. It seems to take on this political, like,
Hmm.
wow, like you're identifying with this community that in some ways I don't even know what they're about, like how can I?
Hmm.
And so for me, it was that as well. It wasn't just the attraction to men. It was something more than that. So yeah, I was definitely went through the tolerant. I'm trying to think of when I first, I think it was pretty young that I knew I was drawn to men, but to begin to be okay with it, well, that's probably later in life. So we'll see that, maybe show a scene about that.
Hmm. Cool.
So I'm going to show the scene of Scott and Kip beginning
Hmm.
to, I think it's more from Scott's perspective. He knows he's gay, but he can't be out about it. So maybe he knows he's been with other guys, but still trying to get used to this sense of identity.
You're not worried about breaking your routine?
No, I'm not actually that obsessive. Turns out I'm too lazy to be a serial killer. I took a quiz. I don't even think I could be a spree killer.
What's a spree killer?
Someone who kills multiple people at the same time?
But isn't
A serial killer is someone who kills multiple people, minimum of 3, but over a period of time, not all at once.
How do you know that?
I read a lot of murder books. And yeah, serial killers make me feel not obsessive, which is a relief.
Well, I've read some things about athletes.
Okay, before you say anything else, yes, I agree. And yes, there are at least 2 guys on my team that Possibly off the record, yes, maybe. But no, not me. No, I swear. Barely had 2 concussions.
Okay, so what? No left sock, right sock, stop shaving, no sex, all that stuff?
Oh, no, yeah, all of that. But that's not CTE stuff, that's just science. And science only really matters during the playoffs.
Oh, okay, that's super comforting.
Listen, I know you're more of an art guy, so it's not like I expect you to get the ins and outs of science.
And just to be clear, I'm not complaining about the whole stop shaving thing. I mean, you all look like hot lumberjacks by the end of May.
Do you want to come to my game tonight? I have 2 seats. No one's taking them, so... I mean, if you want.
Yeah, I want. Fuck, man, that's crazy. Thank you.
Super happy to do it.
You sure?
I'm sure.
What's your initial reaction to that scene?
I think it's really cool that like Kit makes like he like says like something about like guys being super hot with their beards, and I think initially Scott's like taken aback and then like but he leans into it, which I've like related to that, where like this initial like comment about like being gay, or like a gay comment like maybe like creates this like freeze trauma response, and maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into it, but I think he like kind of leans into it afterwards, which I think is like awesome and is a really cool scene.
Yeah. I tried to find other scenes or think of other scenes that depicted this identity tolerance where they're getting used to the idea of being gay. And in the books and this other, I don't know if in this episode with Scott and Kip, he talks about being with other guys, just not in New York where they're living. So he's probably used to the idea that this is who he is, but not out about it. So I think the next actually, well, can you think of other scenes that kind of show, it's more a Shane probably, where he's just getting used to the idea that he might be gay?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any others like specific scenes.
I think there's a lot that, and I'll show, I think, a couple more that were at the end of the scene after they have sex, and then he's thinking about it. He looks regretful or like, what am I doing? Kind of thing. So let's look at the next milestone of identity compartmentalization. So, which is pretty clear. Let me show you a couple of scenes here.
This is, Yes. Yes. Because I want a cigarette.
Smoking is bad for you.
Oh, is it?
So, you're not going to tell anyone about this, are you?
Me? Yes, Hollander, I'm going to tell everyone.
Because no one can know.
Неужели? Hollander, look, I'm not going to tell anyone. Okay?
Okay.
I have early flight tomorrow, so...
Yeah, me too.
Good night.
Night.
Holy shit.
So at the end of that last scene where you see his crinkled face, it was like, what am I doing?
Mhm.
Kind of thing. You wonder what, like a confusion or kind of going back a little bit in the milestones.
Yeah, I read that as like just so many conflicting thoughts of like he probably like is probably starting to like Ilya at this point, and I think he's like not sure how to like come to terms with that, and also like the relationship is really just like hookup based, and he might want more, but at the same time he's like, if I want more, that just like leans into the like him being fully gay and like accepting that. So I feel like at this time he's just like starting to, all the things are kind of colliding, and he's like having to make these choices, and that's kind of how I read into it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. And the idea that with this kind of milestone four of identity compartmentalization, so it's clear that he's like, no, we need to keep this private, like uh,
Hmm.
fun and I'm enjoying this, but we need to keep it separate from our lives. Or, can you do that? And so it does, I think it does a good job of depicting this stage of coming out.
Yeah.
He's a seems like he's okay, but maybe a little bit confused about his feelings, but he's getting used to the idea, but still wants to keep it separate from his life.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and they even like, spoiler here, but like even towards the seventh episode, I don't think their plan is to still keep it a secret. So like even when they're like fully in love and like boyfriends, they're like, we're gonna keep it a secret. So
Yeah, how do we keep this under wraps? Even in the books, it talks about that. In the next season, it'll go into that more detail. How do they have a life together but still keep it separate? Well into their relationship. So can you? I know it's you come out earlier, a lot earlier in life than I did, and the question, um, I had here was there a time when you felt like you could acknowledge who you were privately but not quite yet publicly?
I think I'm still like in that process, like in some areas. Like I feel again like I came out 2 years ago um as gay, and then like I feel like like the end of the first like 6 or 8 months of after coming out like was this big like happy feeling of like going out to bars and hanging out with all of like my gay friends and just having a good time, and like um I think I'm slowly like integrating just like being more comfortable like being gay like in environments that maybe aren't like necessarily like 100% like gay friendly. Like there's still periods where I feel like I'm still protecting my identity and not just like fully being authentic. So I would say I'm like still kind of in that phase of like working through being fully confident and comfortable with myself in all situations.
Yeah. Yep. Um, for me, because I was in the closet in different ways. So when I was 40, I actually came out at 22. I came out to my parents and I said, I feel this way. I don't think I said gay. I just think I like guys. And my parents were very affirming, actually. And I was the one who was like, I don't want this, so I'm going to try to change and that
Mm.
lasted for like 20 years. So I think I was open with some people about having same-sex attractions. And then so at 40 something, I decided to declare this is who I am. But even then I went back into the closet for work. So I very much had a partner, and then I was working at a Christian college. And so at the same time, just compartmentalized for
Hmm.
a long time in different ways. And so, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm just thinking of like how I think the like goal is to just be authentic in all environments and not like switch into these different roles. And I'm finding more and more spaces where I'm just me. Like I'm not falling into this role of like heteronormity or whatever. Like, um, but yeah, it's a process. It's like I think some people maybe are just able to like go full in and just like fully just express themselves and be open. And I think a lot of for at least for myself, like it's been a process of like slowly like unraveling the layers and feeling more comfortable in different environments. And especially like environments where like you and I both played sports, and so like athletics and sports, I think there's like more stigma around being gay, or like it's more a little bit more homophobic. So finding myself back in those environments, it's like our brains are kind of like wired to like
Mhm.
go back into like this is how I act. And I think I'm just becoming more and more aware of that, and looking to just be brave. And that's why I think it's so important for us to like find role models that, or like people that have been super brave, like when Scott and
Mm.
Kip like kissed on like national television, like that enabled Ilya to be like, oh, I want to go to the cottage. Like, so I think that was one of my favorite parts in the whole movie, is like, or the whole TV show, like just seeing an act of bravery from other people and like having a role model and being like, oh, this person can do it. Like I can do it too. So I think um, that was really cool.
Yeah. And I think I have a couple of those scenes coming up. So
Oh, I'm jumping the gun.
that's fine. Okay, before we wrap up for today, I told you at the beginning of the episode that I'd share a little bit more about where to find these clues as part of this Compass Quest challenge for the month of March. I'm going to give you a head start on that. Across my YouTube videos, my Substack, and my website, I'll be leaving a small series of breadcrumb clues, simple lines, moments, and reflections connected to a framework I teach called the Compass. So it's nothing too complicated for now, since this is my first time trying to do this kind of challenge. If all goes well, my hope is to grow it throughout this year, maybe doing some things leading up to the National Day of Coming Out, even the release of the Heated Rivalry series in September, I think. So that might be a focus. My big, hairy, audacious goal for my life list is to give at least $1 million away in my lifetime. I'm a long ways away from that, and but that's the great grand goal that I have. And this is just the beginning of that. If you do choose to follow the breadcrumbs I'll be leaving, you'll collect a few short phrases along the way. And by the end of March, you'll be able to put them together and submit them on my website. Everyone who completes the trail of clues and submits their findings will be entered into a giveaway that I'll share more about throughout the month of March. So you won't need to watch a bunch of my YouTube videos, maybe one here and there, or read a lot of my Substack posts, maybe just a few. You'll just need to follow the clues I provide, which will be very specific directions or instructions to align in a video or a phrase in my Substack post that you have to search for a little bit, but not too much. Trying to keep it simple this first time around. I'll be providing rules for the contest as well, so look out for those soon. So if you want to participate and start searching, the first breadcrumb is already waiting in another video on this channel, which has to do with the first compass point of my framework: clues and coordinating points, ironically. I'll leave the rest of the trail for that clue in the description below, so check that out if you're interested. And good luck, have fun, and as RuPaul says, don't fuck it up. All right, have a great rest of your day. Bye.